I used to think that being disciplined meant being some kind of productivity robot. Wake up at 5 a.m., cold shower, gym, meal prep, perfect morning routine. Like, if I could just force myself to do all the right things every day, I'd finally stop feeling stuck. But that never worked. Because the truth is, I don't wake up every day feeling ready to do hard things. Actually, most days, I feel like lying down and disappearing into my blanket. And I've come to realize that's normal. Not feeling motivated doesn't make you broken. It just makes you human. Discipline isn't about feeling motivated. It's about doing stuff anyways. Now, despite knowing this, our brains somehow become experts at making excuses. The weird part is, when you don't feel like doing something, you start justifying it. You start telling yourself things like, this just isn't the right time, or I should just rest and recharge first, or maybe I'm just burnt out. But there will never be a right time. I do this constantly. I'll open a doc, stare at it for 10 seconds, and then suddenly decide that I need to clean my entire room, organize my desktop, maybe take a walk and reflect on the universe. Anything but actually starting it. And the worst part is, I believe it. I convince myself I'm just taking care of my mental health or doing some kind of spiritual reset, but I'm not. I'm just afraid. Afraid that if I start, I might fail, or it might be bad, or it might be hard. So I stall, I overthink, I dress up avoidance and call it self-care. Here's the thing no one tells you about discipline. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, or motivational, or even particularly inspiring. It's just boring. Discipline is choosing to work through the discomfort, returning to the same task over and over, not because you're excited about it, but because you said you would. It's showing up and doing the work when it feels pointless, when progress is invisible, and when no one's paying attention. And somewhere in all that repetition, something shifts. The internal debate starts to fade. Should I or shouldn't I becomes irrelevant. You stop being someone who thinks about doing things and become someone who just does them. You become someone who follows through, someone who does things even when they don't really feel like it. One of the biggest reasons I kept failing at discipline was because I kept trying to fix everything overnight. Like, I'd be lying in bed for weeks, barely functioning, and then out of nowhere, I'm planning to wake up at 6 a.m. and completely turn my life around. Wake up at 6, no phone, cold shower, hit the gym, meditate, start a business. But by day 2, I'm back to eating chips in bed watching movies. I'd plan out everything, get all hyped, then immediately feel overwhelmed and do absolutely nothing. Turns out, I didn't need a massive life overhaul. Just a simple system, something small I could actually stick to. It wasn't about doing everything. It was about doing something I could actually show up for. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, once I start, I end up doing more. Not because I forced it, but because I began. You don't need to conquer your life today. You just need to move an inch. That's it. An inch forward is still forward. Even a small step forward is still better than nothing at all. There's this myth that discipline means working 24/7, but that mindset will just lead you to burnout. Real discipline isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. Sometimes discipline means doing the absolute bare minimum because the alternative was doing nothing. Sometimes you'll only be able to get a little bit done, like replying to one email, or stretching for 5 minutes, or turning on your laptop without even touching the keyboard. In the moment, it may feel like you're making no progress, but the smallest effort builds up to meaningful change. And that quiet progress is what carries you when motivation doesn't. Motivation shows up only when things are already going well. It doesn't help when you're stuck, overwhelmed, or spiraling. But for some reason, we act like we need motivation before we can act, telling ourselves that if we just wait long enough, it'll magically kick in and fix everything. Well, it won't. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. You do the thing, and then the energy shows up. Not before. You act first. You feel second. Let me be clear. You're not supposed to do this perfectly. There will be days where you do nothing. Feel disappointed about how you spent your time. Especially early on. There will be days where you don't get much of anything done. That doesn't mean you're failing. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back for more. It's about how fast you return to your routine after you fall off. How fast you stop listening to the excuses. That's what matters. It's not the mistakes that make you fail. It's whether you keep going that decides if you succeed. At the end of the day, discipline isn't about being productive. It's about consistently showing up for yourself because no one else will. It's about becoming the kind of person who does what they said they'd do, not for the recognition or the validation, but because you are committed to what you said you'd do. Confidence is built through proof. Proof that you showed up, that you followed through, that your actions don't depend on your mood. That's what discipline really looks like. Quiet, steady proof that you're becoming someone you can rely on. So no, you're not gonna feel motivated every day. You're not supposed to. Some days you'll crawl. Some days you won't even move. And some days you'll surprise yourself. But if you keep moving forward, even just a little bit at a time, you're already doing more than most people. Just don't stop. Keep going, especially when it's boring, especially when it's slow, because that is how discipline is built.